Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Transport Fever today, in which we won't be doing Transport Fever, but Railway Empire. I've said a few times that I'm playing Transport Fever and Railway Empire, and there are some things in the games which are similar and some parts are different. So I will do one, maybe two episodes about Railway Empire, and most of those episodes are actually driving along to see the differences in the graphics about landscaping, seasons, the way cities are done, the way the trains look, how loading and resupply maintenance are done. Because, yeah, those things have quite an impact on the game, or actually both games, and they handled completely differently. So let's start off with the basics. I was actually working at setting up some things. Let's see, I bought something here, a vegetable, which I can't use yet. But for Railway Empire, I'm using the same way for both games when it comes to placing stations and railroad tracks. I always start out with stations. Now we have here three options: train station, supply tower, and maintenance post. I think the first two are pretty obvious. The third is something you put along the track, and especially at the very busy parts, which I have some parts here and later further south. Um, Especially for the very busy parts, it will make sure that you don't have that many problems on your trains. Next options are factories. Each and every city, as you can see, has this nice yellow bar, and that means a certain level of your city, and it means um, also it means unlock of buildings. At some levels, a building slot appears, and I can actually build some industries. I don't have that many industries yet. The further we get in game, the more we get. So it depends. Some cities have the first part, some are unlocked by citizens, etc. I will show a little bit more. Last, we have city buildings, each having their benefits. City fulfillment of demand by 10%. That means the goods it gets 10% extra, more passengers, and scholarship. I think it has something to do with your research, but I'm not certain. I haven't been much into discussions group on Steam forum about this game because I like it, but it's not Transport Fever. So that's one thing. Track construction is pretty simple. I can hook it up everywhere I want. At some point you get points, click, drag the line. In this case it won't work because there is already a switch. Other way will work. That's it. And click the build button and it's done. I won't build it now because I don't need it. I can plan up to 5 tracks. However, if I build a track, I can't plan track 2, 3, 4 and 5 next to it. Because the moment I switch, the previous building is gone. So that's one. The second thing is I can set my directions on the track itself. So I don't need signals. We do have signals in the game, that's for sure. If the game actually wants to work a bit, we do have signals, but they only appear the moment I set directional tracks. So the only job the signals has is separating tracks into parts. We have a signal here, and we have a new signal there. So this is one track part, more or less, from here to that's one track one. About the size of a train with 8 cars. And that's it. So that's the only thing signals do. Only dividing the track in parts for trains so they won't collide into each other. Then we got a very nice tool, if you know how to use it, and that's called the gridiron. I can't build them anymore, but the gridiron, I can build it. Well, I can't build it, but I can show it. The gridiron, as you can see here, is basically the spot used to make sure that trains can cross from one track to another. As you can show here, at the moment I hover over it, you can actually see it, giving an arriving or departing train multiple options to get from one platform. Let's say the train stops here. Up to that point it's pretty straightforward, but over here it can actually, no wait, I have to do another one. Platform 1, because we work from left to right. Platform 1, train is actually able to choose if it wants to run on track 1 or track 3. And I'm using this similar setup in this game as I'm doing in Transport Fever, which means separate tracks for cargo and express. So that's more or less it. That's the similarities. The last button, by the way, is railway buildings, which can also be found here. That's what they have in common. Transportation goods to cities, get other goods, and transportation passengers between cities. There is no road traffic in this game. Now, another thing we have here, this city has a university. There is a liquor factory, which I actually didn't know, and that means I may have to adjust my, well, add a trade route, but I can do that later. I got so much money already in this game and I finished my tasks. More about that later. So it isn't really important. There's clothing industry. There's cloth industry, and I own that one because, yeah, I don't know why, but I own it. It's making a big loss, by the way. And that also has reasons. So I really need to check my cities. Here's my station. I can set the name. These are trains using this station. And as you can see, with the exception of one, they're all making a profit. Also, there's one without profit. That's the one we're going to take in a bit. My station has a maintenance depot, and maintenance is done in this station to all trains. I've set it to 90%, so as soon as the reliability maintenance of the train drops between 90%, it will do maintenance in the very first station having a maintenance depot. And the depots are something different compared to the post I mentioned earlier. And I can transfer my setting to all stations, so the next station I build will have these settings. And there's post office. Post office simply gives me 20% more income, which partially explains that. So that's it. Then we have the development of the city, the goods, the mailbags, the number of passengers, it goes up and down. And the demand fulfillment is not good. Citizens is not as good. Business is okay. So yes, I need passengers. We have the destinations. And we have the substations where people can transfer. And I built a couple of transfers in my game because you need it. We will do a very, very long route. But in general, one of my first routes was actually Amsterdam, Eindhoven, Brussels, and with a few stations in between. Another one was Amsterdam, Groningen. Later I expanded to the south and I started a new route starting in Brussels, heading to Lille, all the way down to Paris and to Luxembourg. So people can actually move from Amsterdam to Brussels, transfer to either Luxembourg or to Lille or even Paris, although it's not shown here because for Paris you have to transfer. So there are some transfer points in this game. Travel time 4.9 game days average, and I have 35 passengers each week wanting to Eindhoven. Nothing of them is transported by rail car. I have 21 mail. Nothing is done by mail car. It's a bit weird because I certainly do have multiple routes traveling along Eindhoven. And I will add another one. So I don't know. Groningen, it's a direct connection, is 100%. So I've got the feeling Bremen is also 100%. I've got the feeling the game isn't always accurate in its calculations. Last button, cities, the goods. This one is having a problem because I got no wool, although there is 19 wool coming in by train, but it isn't there yet. So cloth production stops, and because of that, clothing stops as well. Liquor is a problem. Like I said, I didn't realize that, I have to say. And as soon as the city got 65,000 citizens, they're demanding cheese. 70,000, it starts with salt. Every time we get a good available, there's a certain number of citizens required. And that's a little bit similar to Transport Fever, because the settings in Transport Fever are the ones I'm using. Is also the more citizens you have, the more the demands of certain items will go up. The big difference between the two games, I will produce goods in cities and the resources are done outside cities. That's the biggest difference. Then, next, another very big difference. Task list. As you can see, I've completed them all and even in time. This one was actually a problem because it was bugged. And I've reported it, and thankfully, even before I got to 1842, the bug was solved, and within a couple of weeks I managed. I think I got to 8040, 8041 before I decided, hey, I better stop, because if I don't, I won't be able to make it and I have to fall back to even older save. But I think I started in January 1842 and in August I managed to make it. So the rest, some of them were pretty easy. I mean, we started in January 1840, but 1830, 4 months later, I already had the first one done. August 1st, I had the city added, city number 4, and bang, done. Goods available 1831. So some of the tasks I had were pretty easy and quite easy to achieve actually. This one was bugged. The rural business, the train stations, and the 22 cities, especially the last one, was done by eating up some of my competitors. I started out with 3, and that's the other change in this game. This is my company, being Dutch, proud guy. Renamed it after Dutch Railroad, although that name wasn't used in the 80, 30, 1900 area. My cash, the number of tracks I have, kilometers, tunnels, bridges, locomotives, it's all my worth. My company worth. Total worth 682 million. But half of that is cash. And as I said, I am basically able now to buy up and connect to, I think, most of Europe in one go. So we'll see. A quarterly report, similar to Transport Fever, so I won't get much into it. Here is competitors. There's one left. I had 3. The first one was, now I have to move, in the Bretagne, Normandy, and hang on, that is Brittany, Normandy, and Poitou, Val de Loire region. That was one. That one was interfering with my mission, my task to get everything in Normandy under my control. So I decided to buy her company first. The next one, after I got all of France under control, was in Spain, starting in Zaragoza, and surprisingly not doing that much. Burgos was added. I think Leon was added, and that's about it. No, and it went north to Bilbao, and eventually, at some point when I was heading this way south, all the way up to, I think it was Bordeaux or Bayonne. I'm not sure anymore. But I had in mind to do a certain train travel, which is what I have prepared and what I actually planned to do 20 minutes ago. But that one interfered, so I decided, you know what, I got the money. Let's buy that one up. Which leaves me with competitor number 3. I'll grab him. And he's the only one available. In theory, he shouldn't be able to expand anymore, but for some silly reason, he eventually expanded from Munich to Ulm, bought up, connected here, and ended up in Strasbourg. I don't know why. It's probably a bug. I've reported it because I already had a station here. it's not much of a concern, but I'll keep an eye on it. So you can have up to 3 AI competitors. They expand. Um, that's basically it. They expand by industries, either the rural or the city ones, and that's it. So my company stock value is 7 million. His is 215,000. And most of that 215,000 is because I bought his stock. This is the info we had at the first place. I have 105 active rail lines. My number of trains in use, because not every line has a single but several. Some have multiple trains. My cars, my route length, that's more or less around the globe once. Stations, factories, rural business, connected cities, connected rural, and then we got him. That's nothing. He isn't a threat anymore. I just keep him. Well, I was hoping to keep him for this, but even that is gone. Because I don't see it here as income anymore. That's the last one I got. So there we have a stock market. I can buy, sell stock if I want to. I got this at some point. I don't know why. Maybe if I was going to do a lot of construction, sell them, make money, and when price drops, buy them up again. I don't know exactly what the intention of the stock market is. It's not even mentioned well in the tutorial. Bonds are, well, basically low. I give them out, I get a certain amount of money, like 67,000. And if I issue them in 96 weeks, I have to repay that amount plus interest. In all fairness, I haven't even used them, because after playing this game a few times, oh wait, I forgot something. I thought, yeah, statistics. Well, that's the boring part. But after playing this game a few times, I know, especially on this map, what I can and can't do. I had two competitors which were in previous games quite hard, and in this game I basically did a real walkover, so not worried. Then we have research. This is the more fun part. In Transport Fever you get vehicles after a certain year. In Railway Empire I have to research them. I started with the Stevenson rocket, and through research I got to the point where I'm now using the Iron Duke for my express lines, which is signaled by this lightning bolt, and the Rhine for my freight trains. It's a mixed train, so suitable for both express and cargo, but the 61 kilometers an hour compared to the 69, okay, it's 8 kilometers an hour. Only 8. It isn't that much. Yet, if I'm able to transport my passengers a little bit faster, only 8 kilometers an hour. And if that means they would arrive at their destination 5 minutes earlier as with the other train, all passengers would choose this train. If they do, then use the passenger lines and the express lines with this train will be constantly full, while the lines with this train won't even be called express. That's why I'm using a train with only 8 kilometers an hour extra. There are some other things. Currently, although I have research unlocked for the 30 points a month, I got 150 points. So I could do this. I'm aiming for that one. Why? Well, from 69 to 75, it's only 6 kilometers an hour, but it makes a huge difference, I've already noticed. More important, we have tractive power 19% and 21%, which means it's going a little bit faster the moment the train leaves at the station. Popularity 129, 127, so there isn't that much of a difference. There isn't even much, well, there is a difference between the models. Maintenance requirement 61 and 43, so this one is actually demanding a little bit more often maintenance, but it's not that bad. Reliability 111 versus 130, so it's 6 kilometers an hour, but this one is I have to put it right. This one has a chance to run into some problems more often as that one. Still, it's worth the risk. Other aspects of research, well, this one is lowering maintenance time, so maintenance going faster. This is more important. It's all developments done, real developments done in railroad building, train building, wagons, cars building, all things like that had influence in steam age on developments of the trains and everything related to it is added. Even funding programs, convoys, workers, contracts. There is, however, a lock. I'm in 1843. After I've researched this, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 13, 1500 points divided by 30, 500. Yeah, 500 month divided by 12. Now I'm able to do this before 1850 for sure. So 1500 divided by 30 is 50 months. So that's 4 years. And I already have 400. So actually it's 1350 divided by 30 is 45 months. So a bit under 3 years. And I've done all my research in 1846 more or less. Everything else is just stocked here. And as soon as we hit 1850, I'm able to unlock the train, this part, and probably even a bit up to here. Depends what I'm going to. I will unlock iron, steel, and tool making. So I got 2 new factories and a new rural station coming up. I'll see. I don't know how many points I get in 1850, but up to 1850, after research is done, I will just stockpile them. So, different from Transport Fever. Transport Fever simply says, hey, listen up, historical scene, that train was available in 1852. Bam, it's 1852, here's your train. And we have the same thing here. Historical release, 1829. Started in 1830, so that's not the problem. The next train, I got it unlocked in 1831. Well, historical, it was in 1835. So there are differences which over time built up. I mean, I got this one in 1840. Well, it was officially in 1834. Well, officially was 6 years later. That's because of my research. It's nice to scroll through this because it also shows, that's the fun part, the concept of how a train is actually built, and I won't go into that much. But the technological development of the train itself, and some of the things used, especially in the last one, we get the mallet, which is, that's historical fact, the fastest steam train ever built. It's nice to see those developments. One of the things we will see for a while is express trains having one big wheel. And that's the wheel that's always being driven with by the steam train. So that was a strange concept. See the cylinder here and driving over it. This was a particularly good freight train, by the way. Express train, big wheel. Freight train, because once again, two of the wheels are driven by the steam cylinder. But we already see it's moving from underneath, or like that one had above on top, it's moving to a more low position to get it more traction. Like this is basically the setup we know from trains. And it's going to be used on a lot of trains. This is the train I am currently using for my express trains, and that's cargo. I'm using the official Dutch Netherlands Railroad colors, by the way, or at least I try to get as close to them as possible. For this train it doesn't work, but that's the next train we're going to use. The last one of this era, and basically that's it. So officially 1852, I'm in 1843, and I will unlock it in 1843 actually. We got the price, the speed, everything we already mentioned. It's already there, plus a small description, and I can even add an aging effect. I don't know if it happens over time or that it's just instant. That's how it looks when it's very old and very badly maintained. Usually you play with something like that, because yes, it is used. Last is something we also don't have in Transport Fever, my personnel. Currently having a 141% quality, and that means my maintenance requirements are dropped by 20%, which is quite a lot. It more or less means that if I set it at 100%, out of the, compared to 100% maintenance requirement, what I have now, it means out of every 5 months, my locomotives with this setting will have 1 month less of maintenance. That's what I meant. I can actually get it better. No, I can't get it better. But everything is already dropping a little bit by research over here, so that's nice. I can even drop my working hours, and my maintenance requirement drops even more. So this is pretty good actually. I can do that here as well. 12% extra speed, which is relative because the cars are weight, and that will drop the speed again, but it's happening nicely. Popularity increase and ticket price 8%. The moment I changed that one, the training to 200%, the moment I did that and my quality got up, I started to make a load of money. And now I'm going to make even more. Security, I can upgrade it, but it's better to do this. Now, that's the only thing that doesn't change, but this makes it very hard for the AI competition to hire a saboteur. I don't even have to hire a saboteur anymore. But I used to do that and use it on the tracks of my competition. Let's see if there's actually something that's worth sabotaging. Well, they started out in Salzburg. This is one of the first tracks they did. But I could, for instance, check out if there's something like Linz Budweis. If I sabotage this train, this train is going to run with a lot of low cost. You also see the problem here. One of the things the AI doesn't do, which is actually stupid, and that's why it's losing money, it's still using the 1830 train. There's Stevenson. This one. While I'm using that one for cargo. So my trains are doing 62 kilometers an hour for cargo and 71 passengers in optimal situations, while he is doing 31 for both. My trains are running twice as fast. That's the problem. That's what's going wrong with the AI, and that's what's making it so very, very easy for me to outmatch them. The other thing the AI does, and it's not smart, one passenger train, one mail, lots of cargo. That's slowing trains down a lot. And it has everything running at 2 tracks. That's a programming choice. But I really hope that the AI will use better trains. If it's applied in an update, it would make the game much more interesting. So that's the small tour about what is done. I said, here are my train lines, 105. Amsterdam, Groningen. Supply, supply, supply. Some going from here, I think one going from there. I got a station here, I got a station. Where is it? Warehouse here. That's another thing. I can build warehouses. Warehouses are basically transfer points. It says there's an X amount of goods coming in this case 25. and those are set for different routes. So it's a distribution center. It's not a warehouse where you stockpile things. It's a distribution center. It's something people playing this, the predecessor of this game, are confused about, because in that game you could send endless amount of trains to a warehouse and goods were stockpiled there, and if you had a train running to a city needing it, it simply picked it up. Currently, I've seen a lot of discussions at both the Discord and the Steam forum about I'm in campaign mission this or that, and I have to deliver corn to a warehouse. Well, this one doesn't have corn. A corn to a city, and my trains aren't picking it up. This one doesn't have corn either, but that's for another reason. And my trains isn't picking it up, and I don't understand why. And half the time, when asking more and more about it, turns out that they expect the corn to move in the warehouse and being picked up by one train and then delivered to the city. But eventually, when checking everything, it's simply a matter that the trains, the trains running from the corn, in this case the Dutch people call it maize, but the corn is traveled to brought to the warehouse by stations by train. At the warehouse itself, it's split up. But the moment the corn departs from the station near the rural industry, which in this case is a farm, at that point its destination is already set. And if you need to supply 50 corn to cities, but you're only delivering 25 or 40, yeah, then at some point the game is setting up priorities and delivering corn to the closest city. In this case, it's more likely this train coming over here will send corn to Amsterdam and Eindhoven and not to Groningen or Brussels. What I've done, I've set my warehouses in rural stations like this one, and especially rural stations having a product. So I've got my trains are able to pick up 7 products over here. But like I said, I have to check a few things later. So express train, cargo trains, and everything is split up between a supply or express. Supply trains are always doing transport of the good. This is the one I was going to do, otherwise it's going to be a free hour. So it's ready to depart Amsterdam. It isn't there yet. Actually, it is there yet. There it is. So let's say I'm going to do a longer session. I think I'm going to do about 90 minutes now, because I spent 45 minutes on this part. So train arrives. We got the dining car and the mail car, both increasing, and that's really the last thing I will do. Increasing passenger revenue by 25%. Like I said, I was making loads of money after certain things. The service and increased cost for the stoker and the engineer was already helping. The moment I boosted that service of my personnel, it was going up fast. I added the dining car at some point, it was going up faster. I had the mail car unlocked by research, also giving a 25% revenue. Plus, as said, this train station has a post office which is doing another 21. So basically I get about 45-50% profit on mail. That's a lot of. So what this game does compared to Transport Fever, each and every station it will start loading up. As you can see, wait, 120 passengers and 120 mail bags. This one is heading out to Groningen, doing the same thing. Needs maintenance at Groningen, so it can work out now. It will at some point stop for water and oil supply. And I have to wait, but this train has to wait now for the other one. So we're going to ride along, because that gives emotion. And a slight warning, I turned down the effects, but that very annoying horn will be heard quite some time. Also, because it's the Netherlands, flowers. What we see in the distance on our left, over there, are actually the Ardennes. The scale of the map isn't actually correct. There's nothing I can do about it. I will show you. That's our horn, but it's, I still don't know if it's actually a bug or intentional. I do know that in some countries, and I won't know names now, but I know that in some countries trains have to signal every time they come across a railroad crossing, when they have a merger of lines, when they are going across a bridge, when they are entering a tunnel. It's probably implemented in this game as well, but that's a graphic bug. Another graphic bug. Those horns are keeping going on and on and on in a loop that I'm actually wondering if it's intentional or a bug. Because, yeah, it's not fun. Like I said, I've turned down the noise. Otherwise, this video wouldn't be not really enjoyable. So what we see ahead of us is Eindhoven. Lots of flowers, probably representing the tulip fields. And in the distance, we still see the Ardennes, or in French, Les Ardennes. And we also see how a gridiron works. We don't have platforms, just tracks. So a train would just move to platform / track, which is actually empty, where it will be unloaded or loaded. To our right, we have a maintenance shack. And we're off to Brussels. This train will go all the way from Amsterdam to Spain and back. So, yes, a very long trip. and I decided not to turn it into intercity train, like skipping stations. For instance, we travel from Amsterdam to Brussels to Paris to Marseille, and from Marseille to Barcelona, and then back to a city on the French west coast, like, well, Bordeaux, Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, something like that. I didn't want to do that because when I did that, I know my passenger numbers would drop on the train. So it's stopping at about each and every station between here and Barcelona, heading to Porto. Then all along the Atlantic coast of Portugal, Spain and France, back to Brussels and eventually Amsterdam again. So we will also watch several of the seasons, and at some point, this is what I meant about Horn, at some point I will have to check if a new train is released. I need 5 months. So we're starting out in January, so we're currently at 180 points. February is 210, March is 240, April is 270, so the end of May. We're waiting for another train right now. Just have no idea which one. But at the end of May, June, we will actually have enough research points to unlock the next train. There we go. One of the platforms we were going to use wasn't empty. And this one is heading to Paris, and those are 4 side tracks. Which, as you can see, I really nicely built, although, once again, a graphical glitch. So when we jump into July on the calendar, I will give pause the trip, switch to research, see if the train unlocks. If it is unlocked, I will switch each and every train, each and every express train to the new one, and we will notice increased speed. So our next station, Lille. I also noticed, and I'm not in the mood to change that, but occasionally my trains are running at the wrong tracks. I've got my express tracks and my cargo tracks, and every once in a while my trains are running. Oh, my express train, this one, is running on cargo tracks. Fortunately, I didn't have too many problems with that, with the train being held up. So, next station, Paris. Paris in winter. It's not the most beautiful time of the year to visit Paris. But then, the only time I did visit Paris was in summer, and we had a thunderstorm. That wasn't nice either. And it was only for half an hour because we were basically driving around and partially through Paris, so I didn't see much. But as you can see, snow's melting. And you can also see some of the trains going in the distance. One over there. And that one is actually coming towards us. And for a brief moment, I thought I actually saw station up there. I'm not sure if it is. It's not Paris. Yeah, it could be Paris. Or it is Auxerre. No. No, no. It's Cannes. If there was a station up there, it's Cannes. So, graphic-wise, as you can see, it's different. I have to say it's very satisfying actually. Scale isn't okay, but nature, yeah, looks nice. The landscape is really trying to get close to what it could be, maybe should have been, or currently is. Other as that, I mean, you got grain fields. The trees are looking nice. The seasons are represented. So yes. And as you can see, we have another big train leaving. Passenger cars, mail cars. Thing is, I can't add more trains to some routes because train waits until the previous one has arrived to the next station, or at least entered the gridiron of a next station. So it keeps waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'm using a rule that I need a number of trains is the same number of stations minus one. So I can't put more trains on the line at some point, which results in them all being full. Still, apparently I'm doing it very well. there's always some jokes on. This is about a game company, and the rest is just jokingly added. But it's always fun to read them, especially if you know some of the historical things or non-historical things. So we're heading off to Auxerre, which is actually to our right, but I ran into some problems when I tried to build the tracks, which means I had to do this. After that I ran into problems again, so I had to add another split, and it looks a little bit messy, but it makes it really realistic, especially with bridges added, trains running underneath and things like that. Although the steep angle, yeah. Here comes the most beautiful part. That's a train leaving from Paris too. So we went around, they took another route, and we going underneath while we were going over first. While this happens, here's the train. As you can see, we've been picking up 3 full and half full passenger car, 2 mail cars. That much is needed to be transported, or actually it's more, between Paris and Auxerre. And at the same time, the next train to Auxerre is already behind us. So, research points, 2 more months, 3 more months. So July 1st, that's it. This is the view we normally have, but I prefer this, so we do that with a nice turn. I don't want anybody to become seasick. And what we see in the distance are Les Alpes, or the Alps. The Swiss part, and eventually the French. This is the French and Swiss part, somewhat of the German Swiss part, and eventually over there, French and Italian area. After Auxerre, our next stops will be Dijon and Lyon, before we head over to Marseille. And this is what I meant. For some reason we are at cargo tracks. We probably had to drive over there, because there's the train from Paris to Auxerre. Ah, no, the other way around. this actually solves the problem. So, more details. First of all, the banner showing that it's my station. As if I didn't know that. So, French flag on the station in France. Of course, the Dutch flag on my train. Then we got more details. Bridge from connecting the platforms. The housing is very well done, I have to admit that. So detail wise it's very nice. It's a little bit more cartoonish, as Transport Fever is, but everything is done cartoonish, so combined it's not really a problem. And here we have a tunnel, not for us. We're off to Dijon. Once again on the right. Not sure if we're doing passenger tracks. We're still on cargo tracks. Unless that cargo train was on the wrong track. I really had to check my routes. What I had to do here was set up several crossings. And because of that we see this multiple tracks converging and getting out all to that station, because that station was serving multiple warehouses, once again giving a more realistic view. Also, after this station we're going through a tunnel. First of several. Not many, several. After all, we have to cross several mountain areas. And I only realized this after I was working at the track to the next station. But this is one of the few things I really like about this game. The fact that when you ride along, actually passing through tunnels, Spray Fever doesn't have that. I really miss it. Railway Empire 1 had it too, and I loved it from the start. It doesn't look nice and solid with those wooden beams over there, but the whole idea of being able to actually drive underground like this, including the entrances and stuff, yes, wonderful. And after Lyon we will get another part of nature I really like. Also, people paying attention, the trees are changing. Slowly but surely we get different kinds of trees. Details, that it is. Just that is. That's part of the details we have in this game as well. Not the horn, but wildlife. I've seen boars, I've seen deer, there are sheep. I haven't seen a wolf, but there is some wildlife involved in the game. Like there. Is that a rock? No, that's a boar. Next thing we will see is Asterix and Obelix running after the boar. As long as they don't run on the tracks, it's okay with me. So, Lyon, with very nicely a bridge over the track instead of a tunnel under. In general, we have to our right, our left, the Alps. We're waiting. This one is nice. So my net result is 1.8 million profit. I think it's actually more, but never mind. So this is what Lyon looks like. Next stop is a waypoint. After the waypoint, my stay. And our next tunnel, but a short one. This is the area I meant. Actually zoom out. It's the big marshes we have in France, and I actually thought there was a river running down from those marshes to, yeah, I was afraid that's what happened. The coast here or there, I don't know. I think it was here somewhere. The Rhone River. The whole river isn't on the map, which is a real shame. So instead, they took the, I think it's the Loire as starting point. Some of the geographical parts and names also, because Lyon is written without the S, but some of the geographical parts and names aren't correct, and that's really a shame. Connection bonus, train without freight, train without freight. I won't worry too much about that. Now it's time for fun. I can reload my save game where we started. But what I did here, I had some problems building it, but at the same time it gives so much opportunities. So I had to build the track, lower it, get some bridges. Personally, it's one of the most beautiful parts I actually did in the game. Coming out of the tunnel into the marshes, everything. So yeah, now let's get back to the annoying horn. As you can see, there are multiple bridges and they just keep whistling. So yes, I will use this, probably this entire video for a bug report and be like, hey you, listen up, here you go. Change it. But definitely on the wrong track. Well, I can change that later. Or the cargo trains are on the wrong track. Because my intention is always having my trains running on the right side. Never mind. So, like I said, we had changing in trees. And we went from leaves to needle trees. We got pine trees to our left and our right. But depending at the height, also still leaves. We're going down slowly, so we just had the Alps heading down to the Mediterranean. Marseille, to be precise. Which means we're going down again. You can see it in the distance. After Marseille, next stop, Nice. After Nice, we'll be heading back to Marseille before continuing along the Mediterranean coast. So, currently we have Alps on our left and the dirt wall to our right. But we will be able to see the Mediterranean soon-ish. Going to resupply now. Yeah. So we won't be able to see the Mediterranean soon. funny, we don't see the Mediterranean, but we actually saw very briefly Italy. We won't go there. Nice is as far to the southeast as I've laid down tracks, and now we do see the blue water of the Med. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Mediterranean. With Corsica, or as the French call it, Corse, in the back, and perhaps even Sardinia. I'm not sure about that. This is for now the end of the line in this direction. After this station, we're going back to Marseille, and from Marseille on to Montpellier and Perpignan. Move the mouse pointer down again. Ah, yeah, graphical bug. Saw the lanterns. If not, rewind a little bit, you will see them.